Okay, another very sophisticated presentation I threw together. And the topic is, in answer to the question, how would the system know the difference between agreement and truth? Because is agreement different than truth, or is truth revealed through agreement? And I added the topic of alignment because the intention of the system is to grow the truth and grow agreement around the truth. So I'll take those three separately, starting with how do you build a chain of truth? So you start off with, I'm calling a frame of reference, which is basically a domain frame, a persona object that would house the attributes that I am passionate about and am willing to keep score on because it's what I want to be known for. That's my frame of reference. So there are other things about me, but the things that I really want to keep score on and be accountable to are the fact that I'm a knowledge modeler and that I'm a nurturer. So I'm willing to be accountable to those truths. Then what happens is the system would start to enable me to create cases or to have cases created against me where those attributes are played out and impacts are associated. So if I take an action for someone in need, that would be based on the fact that I'm a nurturer, I'm a relevant solution to someone in need. I complete the case satisfactorily and within time and whatever the budget is for that. And that would give me a case for the fact that I'm a knowledge modeler. Same with, the fact that I'm a nurturer. Same with like developing the ISN model. There's actually evidence that, that I'm a knowledge modeler. And if I make a case that would describe the impact and the spread and the attributes of ISN, then that would be aggregated to my solution object, my giving me more weight on those attributes. So the truth cannot be defined by making an assertion. The truth is defined by the cases for or against what I'm saying is true for me. And so the cases are concluded with evidence is what is required in order to carry any weight about what's true. If there is no evidence, it's not true. So the example that I was posed, like, what if somebody says, God is great? I would say, well, there's no evidence that God is great. It's in your mind, and the mind cannot be counted as evidence. However, if you wanted to say the Bible says God is great, then if the Bible says God is great, then you have the truth right there. Now, agreement is people piling on to a particular object. And if they agree to it, that they say, yes, this is true, then you have agreement. Like in the example of a movie sucks. This movie sucks. 80% of the people who saw the movie say it sucks. No one cares. No one makes a case about it because there's no disagreement. So it just stays out there as an object that if you wanted to find out whether this movie sucked, you could look it up and find out that this movie sucks 80% of the time. However, if somebody wanted to make an issue out of it and say, well, you know, I made the movie and it's actually a documentary, and that's why 80% of people say it sucks because it's informative and all of those people don't like documentaries. Well, now I could make a case that it's actually this documentary might not be your cup of tea if you're not looking to be informed. Another statement, for example, Disney is a pedophile. Let's just say somebody's making a big case about Disney being a pedophile. And even if 80% of the people agree, then what would happen is that because there may be no evidence of Disney being a pedophile, no evidence is gathered. When you have a lot of pile-on to something that people do care about, like pedophilia, now that object is going to get raised to validated agents in the domain of, say, pedophilia or Disney, and they would escalate that solution to the evolve workflow for that particular domain, such that subject matter experts could reframe the solution to say Disney is accused of pedophilia, and then system experts could associate the evidence of the accusations and the impacts to such an extent that those who all agreed that Disney was a pedophile might be discovered to have associations that would discredit them from being able to make that determination, because they would not be subject matter experts, or they would not necessarily be objective. So that's agreement. Alignment is about extending the points that are shared truths by looking at whether or not you think it's true and whether or not you can tell me what next would be true. And that way we build solutions together. So, so let's say that I'm out here as a knowledge modeler and a nurturer. And then there's someone we'll call Mike, because this was his name. And say he's a right-wing activist. And he's also a musician, which is how I would have encountered him. So he then publishes something that says electronic vehicles are bad for the environment. And by the way, liberals are blah, 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 not nice things, he said. So I came on board and said, I validated his music and I did something nice for him. I made an outfit for him. And then he did this liberals are blah. And then I did a what's next experience with him about Frank Zappa. Now, all of a sudden, he doesn't see me as one-dimensional, because he sees me as someone nurturing and someone who maybe shares some perspective about him that he would not have expected, because we shared this. So now he might still maintain his frame of reference, right? He still might be a right-wing activist and a musician, but he might not be as likely to be as actively calling people names, because now he has an example of someone with whom he might not want to sever his relationship. So he's open to more information from me. So for example, if now he cared about clean water in Florida and I approached him to participate with me in this, the fact that I am a liberal would not necessarily disqualify me from engaging with him in something that has a different context than whatever he's attached to it right up here. So that's basically the three concepts, not necessarily very well explained, but I'm hoping that it gives at least a bit of a context to how the attachment of solutions to each other with objective evidence attached, like would help us to solve the problems, like when you attach a log to a solution, or you attach a reading from some telemetry that would give you evidence of a particular problem situation. And then through alignment, it allows us to work on all those things that aren't really bugs, but they're like interoperability issues that require people to build something together. And we always knew that was like one of the biggest buckets of problems was interoperability. And I think that we have the same problem between people. So that's it.